Hello. I am assuming that most of you have heard of a little show called Arcane. It's no big deal, just kind of one of the best shows that's come out ever, honestly. It took the internet completely by storm with its unbelievable visuals, gut-wrenching story that has made me cry on many occasions, incredible characters, some of whom are far too hot for their own good, and on top of that, really amazing character designs, which is what we're focusing on today. Have you ever wondered what these guys would look like as cookies? Probably not, but I have, because Shadow Milk made me ridiculously obsessed with Cookie Run to an insane degree, to the point where everyone in my life is sick of hearing about cookies. So because I've got these two overwhelming hyperfixations, what better art exercise than to combine them? So today we are turning Arcane characters into Cookie Run characters. Starting off, I did some concept sketches just so I could get the hang of the art style, and to explore what kind of cookies I would turn these characters into. I originally wasn't sure if I was going to do Jinx, which is a bit weird considering in my mind she's like the poster child of Arcane. I feel like if you mention Arcane, Jinx is the first character you think of. Second character is probably Victor. The reason I wasn't sure if I was going to do Jinx was because the character Twizzly Gummy already exists, who is very much believed to be a reference to League of Legends Jinx. So I kind of thought, well, the job's already been done. But then I had a sudden big brain blast idea. What if I took Jinx's big ol' iconic braids and turned them into Pop Rocks? And I could name her Pop Rock Cookie. And additionally, Pop Rocks kinda resemble the arcane crystals, which Jinx uses in her weapons. I got to work immediately sketching her out in the Cookie Run art style, turning her braids into massive rocks. I also did some concept sketches of her bomb, because in the show she's got her iconic chomper bombs. I suddenly just thought it would be really fun if I tried to combine those with the cake hounds from Cookie Run. So I did a little sketch, and I'm kind of just enamored with this little guy, so I'm absolutely keeping it. I also wanted to make a little scribble that resembles her little monkey symbol, but I wanted to combine it with the design of Colfies from Cookie Run. Originally I wasn't sure whether or not to give it the freaking Colfie butt mouth. I got rid of it, don't worry, it doesn't stay. And then I also did some concept sketches for her tattoos, because one thing I didn't want to do is I didn't want to keep her tattoos the way that they are, because they resemble clouds, and in Cookie Run, characters have elements, and Jinx's element makes too much sense as lightning, and if I gave her these tattoos, it might confuse you into thinking she's a wind element. Originally, I tried to take her tattoos and make them spikier, but then I eventually decided that it would probably be better if I just turn them into little sparks, like the little symbols that appear on the Pop Rock packet. I got to work finalizing her design, and I made some other changes, like I took away the gold stripes on her pants, because Cookie Run characters usually don't feature too many colors. They feature a few very vibrant colors, and Jinx actually has quite a few colors in her design, so I thought taking away some of her gold accents would just help it to feel a little more cohesive to the Cookie Run art style. I think her colors are still a little bit too out there for Cookie Run, but it's kind of hard to change it too much because her colors are so iconic. I designed her little gun, putting a pop rock on it, but then I realized I accidentally kind of made it look like Isha's gun, but I'm okay with it because the most important thing to me was I wanted the rock to be visible on it. I took away her fingerless gloves because cookies don't have fingers, so now she's just got proper gloves. And I took away a couple little details on her design that I just thought were unnecessary and would have cluttered a Cookie Run design. Because their bodies are so small because they are cookies, they usually don't have too many small, intricate details because you just wouldn't be able to read it. And so here is Pop Rock Cookie. She is a ranged cookie because she uses guns, but I also realized I could have made her a bomber, which I probably should have done, but oh well, I'm not changing the art. Anyway, moving on. Next we are doing my husband, my favorite little boy, Victor. I couldn't not do Victor. Call me basic, but he is my favorite Arcane character. I had a little bit of trouble figuring out what kind of cookie I wanted to make him. I wanted it to be something that made sense with neutral, warm, brownish colors, because that's his main color palette in Season 1. But I also wanted something that could make sense if I gave him costumes for his Season 2 looks. I decided I would hunt through desserts of his nationality, which was a little tricky because in the game he has a Russian accent, whereas in the show his accent is more Czech. I looked at both, couldn't really find many interesting Czech desserts that I thought would really work, So I decided to go look through Russian dessert because even though he's not really Russian in the show, because he's also rooted to the game character, I feel like I'm still allowed to look at them. And I ended up discovering waffle cakes. I see some pictures where they're just neutral colors and they're slathered in what looks like caramel, which is so freaking perfect for Season 1 Victor. But then I also found a bunch of pictures of them in all these really bright, like cotton candy colors. I don't know why. I need to research that. I'm very curious. But oh my god, does this work for a lot of Season 2 Victor designs? I'm not making any of those designs in this video, but if y'all are interested, I might do it in the future. So I got to work sketching out Victor, and he was a little bit harder than Jinx, honestly, just because I kind of struggled to incorporate some of the food themes. Initially, I put some caramel syrup like dripping onto his hair. I looked at a lot of the Cookie Run designs and realized they're not actually that overt with how they incorporate food. One of the only characters who has like literal stuff like dripping on their hair is Parfait Cookie. So I decided to look at some of the cookies that incorporate things like drizzle and syrup a little bit more subtly. Cookies like Raspberry Cookie and Caramel Arrow Cookie who just have like these streaks in their hair. So I decided to try do that with Victor instead, giving him little caramel streaks in his hair. I don't love how it looks in the end. I probably could have spent some more time studying, but I've also been in the middle of moving, so I haven't had heaps of time. I incorporated some waffle patterns onto his little coat, but you can barely see them because of the pose I put him in. And then I gave him a little book with a waffle pattern on it. Also gave it a little bit of caramel drizzle on it because I felt like he was kind of lacking in the food department. And because of that, I also turned his tie into a little strawberry. The hardest thing for Victor was figuring out what the hell to do with his cane, because obviously I have to include his cane. That's such a central part of his design. Initially, I thought I could do something like a fork because he could loop his arm around one of the prongs, and I thought that would work pretty well. But I sketched it out and it just kind of looked awkward. I couldn't really make it work. And then I thought maybe like a butter knife. Victor's very much a pacifist. An important part of his character is that he doesn't want Hextech to be used for weapons. So giving him something that looks dangerous like a knife just doesn't really make sense for him. So instead I turned it into a spoon, which doubles as a staff, making him a magic cookie. It doesn't make too much sense as a cane, like I don't really know how he would hold that super comfortably, but I really like how it looked in the end. I put some gold detailing on it that I kind of shaped to be reminiscent of the anomaly, while also just looking like fancy cutlery. Obviously, if I do Victor, I have to do Jace. I cannot split up the boys during Pride Month. Are you kidding me? Jace was another one where I wasn't entirely sure what dessert to make him. Initially, I thought walnut cookie would be so freaking perfect because look at his hammer. It already kind of looks like a walnut, especially how they draw walnuts in Cookie Run. But I wanted to double check that walnut cookie didn't already exist because I know all of the Kingdom cookies off by heart, but I've never played Oven Break, so I just wanted to double check that they don't already exist, and oh, would you look at that, walnut cookie is already a thing. So what did I do? I still wanted to incorporate something walnut-y, but I decided I should probably do the same thing with Victor and see if I could find any fun facts about Jace's nationality that would help me in narrowing down what desserts to do. Based on my research, he doesn't really have like a canon nationality, but his name is Greek. So I decided to look through Greek desserts. And wouldn't you know it, I found the perfect thing. This is Karidopita. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's a walnut cake. Not only does it have all the proper colors for Jace, including the white of his jacket, because often it seems to be served with ice cream, but it's got walnuts. It's perfect. So I got to work making the hammer the central focus of this design because I'm so sorry, Jace, but your Season 1 design is a little bit boring. I had so much fun rendering this hammer. I was very much looking at the walnut toppings as inspiration, and I decided it would be really fun if I turned the gold detailing on his coat into kind of like a walnut crust. The rest was pretty simple, honestly. I gave him his little bit of stubble because he deserves it. Stubble is attractive, objectively. Put him in a little jumping pose, and then put him in the same background as Victor because, of course. And here we go. Here are some freshly baked cookies for you, baked with love. I was wanting to do 4 for this video, but as I said before, I have been moving, so I haven't really had the time and I just kind of wanted to get this video finished. But if you want a part 2, let me know because I've already made concepts for so many of the other characters. Little spoiler, if I do a part 2, Silco is absolutely going to be my top priority because I love him. So if you want to see Silco along with other characters, like, subscribe, and comment to let me know. Also, if you want to help support me in other ways, feel free to check out my Ko-Fi and or Patreon. Again, I've just moved. It's my first time living outside of my parents' home, so some extra help would be very much appreciated. I'm also developing a little animated pilot right now that I will be talking about more in the future, so you'll also be help supporting the production of that. Thank you guys again, and I'll see you next time.